All right, I saw the TMZ special. It is called Unending Tragedy. They released it yesterday. There was a lot of press leading up to that release, a lot of things that came out ahead of time that, caused me to circle back around and watch the whole thing. It's kind of like, I'm not going to say a documentary. It does say first episode, so I don't know if they're planning on doing more. But anyhow, I'm going to recap what I saw. Some new stuff that came out that we know about. Her life insurance policies, her relationship with her mother, um, and her drastic weight loss just before she died. So that was some really big highlights that are kind of hitting the news. But this thing, I mean, it's worth a watch. I think it's an hour with commercials. Um, you can catch it online for free. I know it's on Hulu, but I saw it on Fox. I'll put a link below in case you want to watch it too. But a lot of footage. And so it starts out where they're playing the 911 call and from the housekeeper, and then they recapped how she passed away. Danny Keogh coming back from dropping off the kids from school. The family is reporting that they don't know how long she was without a pulse. Riley had hopped on a plane to see her mother, but didn't make it in time. I didn't realize that she had hopped. It was kind of, yeah, she hopped on a plane to see her, and she didn't make it in time. So that's kind of really sad for Riley. Then they go through the history of Elvis, reviewing his death and his drug addiction, and then comparing the two as similar. And I feel like a lot of that is kind of, I mean, I don't know if it's going to go down in the history of the tragedy of his mother dying from addiction, then him dying from addiction, and then her. But gosh, there's so much tragedy weaved in and out. I think that's why people can't stop paying attention to this story because, you know, all, as Lisa Marie was going through her life, I mean, it hit the high points. We kind of saw it. I definitely the Michael Jackson, and then, but then it kind of, for me, I didn't. It fizzled out with the rest of it. But then now circling back around and realizing um, just all the tragedy that was in her life, and I think that's why they're calling it an unending tragedy. And then more tragedy coming out even after the death with all of the financial stuff and what Priscilla um, and the rest are going through right now. But anyhow, as far as comparing the addiction between the two, Elvis and Lisa Marie, I do think that there is a predisposition, an inherent predisposition. Again, I don't know if it's necessarily similar, but she was just recently dealing with the tragic death of her son by suicide, and anyone who had that many years of opioid use and drug addiction, I think would inevitably deal with their pain, that deep of a pain, by going back to um, how you dealt with it before with opioids. It's tragic but true, and those neural pathways are a real thing. I mean, it is just a default mechanism when you've had a history of drug use for that long. Then they go on. Okay, so then they go on with lots of history with her marriages, the drama surrounding Michael Jackson, Nicolas Cage, Michael Lockwood, the births of her children, with Michael Lockwood, where she was prescribed the opioids that she then later said was the catalyst in the beginning of her addiction issues. Then on to the bitter, and this is kind of leading up to the present day, the bitter divorce battle with Michael Lockwood that lasted 10 years. Court documents revealed he was accusing her of having a severe drug addiction where he had to take care of her, he had to feed her, he had to brush her hair. And oppositely, she was claiming that he was a pedophile. I mean, this just sounds like a divorce, like a nasty divorce, where he was a pedophile. He had thousands of pictures of children on his computer, which later, I guess, that was dismissed. But he reported afterwards saying that He was blaming this on tactics that she learned from Scientology. And I kid you not, I read that where he said that there is some tactics that they learn in Scientology where you can go to any lengths to destroy the other person. So I don't know much about Scientology, but I think we're learning about it more when this, through this storyline that's coming out. It also says, and this is interesting, especially because we're dealing with, Priscilla contesting her will, is that Priscilla had sided with Lockwood in the custody battle. I mean, siding with her ex-husband in a custody. I'm not, I can't, who knows the circumstances why if Lisa did in fact struggle that hard with addiction, was Priscilla protecting the children, or did she and Lisa Marie just was it just, I don't know, sad, but it says that she sided with him with the custody battle, and in the end, and this is telling, Lisa got 60% custody and Michael 40. So, and he also, gets, he got 6,000 in child support. I think he asked for more. I think he asked for 10, but he wound up with 6. So I assume that he and Priscilla are still close. It's saying that she didn't have much of a relationship with Priscilla or Lockwood coming to the end of the death, coming to the end where she passed away. So then they go on, TMZ goes on to say, right when that was settled and still painful, her divorce with Lockwood, Benjamin, her son, commits suicide in her home. So he apparently had a fight with his girlfriend in the backyard, what I read, correct me if I'm wrong. Then he goes into the house, I believe in the bathroom, and shoots himself. The girlfriend finds him, and later with the toxicology reports, they found that he had cocaine and alcohol in his system. So, this breaks Lisa's heart. They were very close. They had dinner with each other almost every night. And so she locks herself in her home and doesn't come out for 2 years. And she returns to opioids. This is the story. And it's true. I mean, if you look back, I think in the end, she wound up writing an op-ed about grief and guilt and all of that, and losing a child and what you feel and about that. And I can imagine, and I didn't read the article, but just from my vantage point as a mom, if she struggled with opioid addiction for a certain length of time, and that would take you out of, being a parent being the parent that you want to be. It would make you unavailable for the people around you. Addiction like that uh, becomes more important than anything. And I don't want to turn this into an addiction conversation, but I thought about her recently just from that vantage point, and was thinking that she must have suffered a lot of guilt after the suicide, along with probably all of the other things that you feel after a suicide. Um, Also, they said that she was holding grief groups in her house with other women who had lost children at the time of her death. Um, she was reclusive. They said she had no reason to smile. Um, when she was at Elvis's 88th birthday, I was watching you can see just on Twitter, people will post, their own videos, the people that, just fans that were there. And you can see her walking down, shaking hands. Um, and she would pose with people to take selfies, but you see, she didn't smile. She was just like, you know, so I think she struggled to smile. And, you know, She said when she was there that this in her speech at his birthday, she said that you were the only, talking to the fans, she said, you were the only people that get me out of the house. So apparently it was so bad that Danny Keogh moves in with her to take care of her, seeing she was struggling. And it wasn't romantic. And he lived with her, for 2 years. So obviously, I don't, it's not like they weren't, everybody's not surprised that this happened, that were in her circle or knew her. I, I I just know that there was a lot of people that knew that she was struggling with addiction and going back to opioid use, and the report does say that it was opioids mixed with uh, massive weight loss. And so then what TMZ was reporting, that's I guess the Golden Globes were coming up and Elvis' birthday was coming up, and so she was going to do a lot of press, and she had weight fluctuation that I have seen all throughout. And I know that there have been not recent pictures, but pictures in like the last couple of years where she looked, you know, really overweight. So anyhow, they said this that she went on some kind of diet, had some sort of plastic surgery where she lost 40 to 50 pounds in 6 weeks' time. Now, 40 to 60, I mean, that could be, well, we're not going to know until the toxicology reports come out. I'm thinking Ozempic, maybe. And what is that mixed with opioids? Does that cause some sort of heart reaction? I think I have not taken Ozempic. I've researched Ozempic, and I think that it does cause really quick weight loss, but it could also be, any, there's now so many different medications. So we'll find that out with the toxicology report. But that amount of weight loss in that short of time, I think would do a lot to your body, especially at 54 and with the history of already doing some damage. I think she quit smoking when she was 38, I read, but anyhow, so the big thing coming out, one of the big things coming out of the TMZ special was that they found out what had contributed to actually being able to stop her heart was potentially that drastic weight loss, along with weight loss medication, along with opioids. So then they go on to talk about how the family members said they were shocked to see Lisa Marie and Priscilla at the same table at the Golden Globes. That they were saying that their relationship had been fractured for years. And of course, you would think with the divorce and siding and all of that, that then, anyhow, so apparently we all saw them at the Golden Globes, but the family said they were really shocked to see them together. And then the other big thing that came out of the report, um, or the special from TMZ, was that they were reporting that at the time of Lisa Marie's death, she was $4 million in debt, including 2.5 million still owed to the IRS. They said she was a big spender and she had made some bad investments. She basically blew through $100 million in 25 years. But on the day she died, Lisa's estate was suddenly flushed with cash. And so come to find out that she had taken out 3 life insurance policies before her death. And as a result, she supposedly has left $35 million to be split between the 3 kids, the twins and Kia. But here's the deal. The caveat is some of that money will go into the trust, and that is the trust that Priscilla is challenging. And they did a whole other quick video on Priscilla challenging the will. And so this is some things stirring with that. And now on to more updates about Priscilla. Page 6 is reporting that Priscilla is the reason why she's contesting her daughter's will is a money grab. So that's what page 6 is saying. And TMZ is saying um, that there is a family fight brewing over the money. And I think it is including Danny Kia, Michael Lockwood, uh, and something to do with, since Danny had lived with Lisa Marie, he had built a relationship with the twins, but Lockwood is coming in. But I don't think Lockwood is wanting the twins for the money, but money is money. And this is coming out fast and furious in regards to Priscilla, like walking in there day 3 and contesting that will. And again, all of these sources are saying that Lisa Marie had no relationship with Priscilla, no relationship with Michael Lockwood. And I don't, not that he's doing anything, but also they said she didn't have a relationship with her. So the tragedy of her death was an inevitable. She had so many losses, addiction, and they end up kind of with Dr. Drew, addiction specialist Dr. Drew, saying, you know, she is one of the latest victims of the pandemic, of the opioid pandemic, and that this will possibly shine a light on it. So, filling in the gaps, toxicology reports won't come out for a couple of months. I think there's going to be some court battles over a few things, and the will settle. But anyhow, worth a watch, and lots of footage, good footage and commentary. And that is my latest on the Lisa Marie front. We will talk again.